Originally in Spanish, 8th of April, 2022.
People think of that when they talk about portals.
No, it's not like that. Physically, it looks here like a round black door with gray wide frame.
Yes, and I got this question from someone. Robert, do the atoms of the physical body separate during the jump and then come back together, or how does it work?
They are thinking in material terms. The atoms are fine. And the molecules. They don't separate. They don't diffuse. They just stop being compatible with one place and are compatible with the new one, from the point of view of the ether. That's why this technology is beyond Star Trek by several thousand years. Thousands of years from the terrestrial point of view and its false line of technological development. That one, yes, it is exactly like that, with a low energy, dirty portal. There are better ones where you see the other side as it is. No water effect. That effect only happens in the low energy ones, I insist. But it is real. That's exactly what it looks like. But in low energy portals.
People even asked if there was a lifetime jump limit for the body.
There isn't. As many as you want until you get bored. But for this topic to be understood, I have to go deeper to describe the nature of reality by frequencies. Nothing is dematerialized. The structure of people and ships remains intact. You must forget the concept of distances, or you will not understand this technology. There is no need to transport anything from one place to another. If you insist on thinking like that, you will not understand. The ships in hyperspace are not moving. It is space that moves around them. Hyperspace flight is not propulsion. It is a change of vibrational frequency state. It is the opposite of what they think. They think of moving a ship through space, while it is moving the space surrounding the ship. The ship is not moving. It can make the jump being static at 0 kilometers per hour. What it does is that its compatibility no longer agrees with the place of origin and does agree with that of the destination. Remembering that from the ether, which is from where this technology operates, everything is now and everything is here. There are no distances. And I can explain it better, but I want to do it with numerical tables, or it will not be well understood. I have to work on that, but it's worth it.
Thank you, Tina. It's just that I think they are confused by this part that you said. That is to say that a large mass object will tend to shift frequency from the hull part inward as it is immersed in its toroid of its engines. That is to say that the outer hull will change its frequency first, and then that change will go inward, modifying first the things and objects inside that are of less mass, such as wooden furniture or curtains, people, And the last thing to be modified would be the large internal structure of the ship as its spine, and other metal structures that give it rigidity. Also because of this, what will arrive at the destination will be an amorphous mass of ship parts and its interior, all incomplete.
They are interpreting it wrong. If we are talking about portals or small ships, the jump is instantaneous, and it depends on the ship itself how it does it. The problem here for the sit time procedure of molecular adaptation is not because of the jump itself, nor the nature of the travel. Everything is instantaneous. Here, by molecular resistance, I mean something else. It is a problem that occurs in larger ships. The problem is that in order to make a jump from one place to another using hyperspace, the vibration and frequency of the whole structure of the ship must be changed from the starting point to the destination. This technology is theoretically perfect and works well with low-mass objects. But the big ones have a technological limitation that has nothing to do with the principle of instantaneous hyperspace flight. The technological limitation is the spacecraft equivalent of the power-to-weight ratio of a terrestrial vehicle, being that a fighter ship will have a huge power weight like a high-end sports car with 12 cylinders and 1,100 horsepower, whereas a spacecraft like the Toleka, even with the huge engines, will have the power weight of an 18-wheel trailer or semi-trailer truck. They have huge turbocharged engines with hundreds of horsepower and mostly a lot of torque, but still require a lot of effort to move that much metal. The large ship's engine with a lot of mass, or combined engines. In Toleka's case, there are 8 plus 4 maneuvering engines. Even with their titanic power, they cannot change the vibratory frequency of the whole ship instantly, because it is a lot. And as every object at rest tends to remain at rest, from the point of view of who is in the ship, a temporary delay is observed, so that all the molecules can change from one frequency to another by imposition of their huge engines. To avoid incidents and problems due to lack of sufficient power in the engines, weight, mass, power, output of engines, what is done is to make small jumps through hyperspace. Explaining this as displacement to be understood, from an initial frequency to a similar one in the direction of the destination, and not immediately that of the destination. Seeing this mathematically, for that I need the numerical tables that I have not done yet. If the destination has a frequency of 8,347, but the big ship is in the origin frequency 1,044, because of lack of power, it will not be able to change the vibration frequency of all its molecules from 1,044 to 8,347 at once, as a SUSY ship would do. What is done is to change the frequency progressively towards that of the destination, as in 1044 modify to 1045, modify to 1046, modify to 1047, and so on in rapid sequence, to gradually modify the vibrational frequency of all the molecules of the ship from 1044 to the destination at 8347. But it is not a movement through anything. It is an internal change of frequencies inside the total immersion toroid that is formed by the engines of a ship, progressively, not immediately. Now, explaining this without a table, what is the number 8347? It is a quantity of numbers, an energy value in numerical form, which means that it is part of a matrix that holds it. That is, the number 8347 does not exist by itself, but only exists because it is among the other numbers that give it meaning and value. That is to say that the number 8347 is sustained by what surrounds it. In its case, the numbers 8346, 8345, 8344 towards the bottom of the scale, and it is sustained in the same way by the numbers 8348, 8349, 8350 towards the top of the scale. In the same way as all the other numbers that support it, being that no number that exists, neither big nor small, neither positive nor negative, can exist without the others. They will always depend on each other. So the number 1044 cannot be inserted in the number 8347 because it does not go there. The numerical sequence does not go as in 8344, 8345, 8346, 1044, 8348, 8349. It's as simple as that. 1044 does not go there. So if you represent places with their numerical values representing frequencies, being that 1044 is the origin and 8347 the destination, to jump from 1044 to 8347, you must become 8347 and stop being 1044. You must not attempt to move 1044 and force its existence into the energy field that obeys factors congruent to 8347. So if you are no longer 1044 and you are 8347, you are no longer among the numbers that sustain 1044, but among those that sustain 8347. That is, you are no longer 1044. You are no longer part of the origin, and you are part of the energetic numeric dynamics of the destination. That's why you can make a jump immediately, because numbers like frequencies, they just are. You either are or you are not a number and a frequency. But with a big ship, what you do is to make a series of not so drastic jumps in the right direction. That is, gradually modifying its inner frequency until it matches the energetic numeric value of the destination. But it is not a problem of the nature of hyperspace travel. It is a problem of engine's lack of ability to impose the energetic change on the mass of the ship. And that factor of being able or not to make the jump, and of what magnitude, will depend on each ship and the ratio of nominal power output of its engines versus the total mass of the same ship. This factor may be considered as the speed capacity of a ship. Thinking or translating these hyperspace flights to displacement from point A to point B only in the minds of those who observe from the point of view of a person with a life experience in a world that obeys space vectors x, y, z with volume, but not from the point of view of vibratory frequencies of hyperspace. Each ship will have a different capacity, and the end result as to the sit time perception of its crew will depend on the power output, mass weight, versus power of each ship, with an effect that a Toleka type ship will have a perception of 7 hours interior sit time for a trip from Earth to Temer, and a ship with better power weight will give its crew a lower perceived sit time. But it is still not displacement of an object over distance. It's just a time lag due to gradual change of frequencies, and only from the point of view of the crew.
Thank you. So a ship like the Toleka would have to go through all the numbers between 1044 and 8347, and the small ones too, or would it not be necessary?
Yes, the Toleka would, from hyperspace already being inside. And the better the power-weight ratio of a ship, the bigger the jumps between the numbers between the origin and the destination. That is to say that a ship with a bad power-weight ratio will have to make jumps one by one, unit by unit, until it reaches the values of the destination, while a more powerful ship will only have to make jumps of 5 by 5 or 45 by 45 until reaching the value of the destination. That is to say, the better the power weight, the greater your jumps can be, with immediate sit perception between each jump. Now, if we put on a numerical sheet the entire sequence from 1044 to 8347, it will look like a progressive sequence of numbers, as is the distance from one city to another by road, measured in kilometers or miles, thus giving the illusion of moving through space with propulsion, when in fact it is not propulsion but a change of state of existential vibrational frequency.
I understand. So the Susie jumps right away.
Between some points, yes, she jumps directly. But between Earth and Temer, she will have a sit time of 36 minutes. Not bad compared to the 7 hours for Toleka, which already has an excellent power weight, considering its huge mass size. It is considered very fast for a heavy cruiser.
Thank you, Tina. You explain it very well.
Thank you. Thank you as well. I have this question. And why would the big mass like Toleka have to jump in pieces, if from hyperspace, where it would be, there are no distances or anything. So the target frequency should be as easily reachable as any other place. However, the target frequency is reached in chunks. Why? Frequencies are frequencies. Why is it more difficult for Toleka to reach 8,342 from 1,000 than to reach 2,000? It is in relation to the energy frequency of its molecules. It is like heating a piece of metal in a frying pan. If it is small, it will heat up fast. If it is bigger, it will take longer to heat everything. In molecular description, if a particle of matter that makes up a ship is vibrating at 1044 cycles per time unit, it needs energy to start vibrating progressively faster until it is at 8,347 cycles per time unit. If the molecule is a small, low-mass object, the transmission is basically instantaneous. But if the object has a lot of mass, the very influence of the energetic and magnetic field that composes the material of the ship itself has the tendency to want to sustain its base frequency of 1044, because the vibratory frequency between all its molecules is reinforced. A kind of chain reaction must be created that changes the vibratory frequency of all of them. That takes time from the observer's point of view, generating the perception of sit time.
Exactly. It's like the Stargate portal. The ship will take longer to cross it by its very nature of being larger.
Yes, although total mass matters more than size per se, although it is usually related. It's just that an object has a tendency to stay as it is, elementary physics, and energy is needed to change its state.
Base frequency of 1044. Sure. At that time, it is the dominant one.
Exactly. That's why the molecules want to stay at 1044. Just like the cargo of a tractor-trailer truck wants to remain static, and the huge engine of the truck needs to make a very big effort to change its state. Just that in the minds of people who live in worlds with XYZ, that is depth and length, that molecular adaptation time in their life experience is interpreted as displacement from point A to point B, but it is not.